enjoy food and drink and get seated. And we have some pre-meeting announcements that we want to do. Yes, I'm aware. He'll be here. First one I'd like to mention, on December 15th, we had a very nice holiday party. I got it right. I said holiday party. Wow. Yes. And a good time was had by all, and we gave out some group awards, and I'd just like to mention who received these group awards and what for. We had newcomers awards for Jasmine Ja, who is one of our refreshment coordinators who can't be here tonight, Victoria Howard and Renee Robertson, who are co-chairs for our program committee. Outings awards, one went to Jim Binnings for all the hikes that he directs and participates in, and Andy Hines Johnston, who I believe got the award, Mark, because she coordinates bus trips
very well.
Very well. And it's a lot of work, right?
Yep.
It's a lot of work. Conservation awards went to Olinka Green and Marcus Russell, who is supposed to be our speaker tonight. He hasn't arrived, but we will we'll see. He probably got in traffic coming up from Oak Cliff. Helen Bush Unsung Hero Award went to Ginger Bradley. Who is our membership committee chair. Lifetime Achievement Award went to Liz Whelan. Who heads up a lot of things, including the ICO program. And we gave a Lifetime Political Achievement Award to the Honorable Sandy Grayson, who used to represent District 12 on the City Council. Is that right, David?
That's right.
Okay, she's not on council anymore, right?
Right.
Okay. That's all I have there. Are there other announcements before we get into the committee reports? Okay. Marcus is here. Nobody has an announcement before we move on to our normal committee reports? Oh yes, Ginger Bradley over there is holding up our t-shirts. We also have polo shirts. We have some calendars for sale, right, Ginger?
Yeah, we still got some calendars left, you guys. They're going fast. Hurry
Most
along
popular
fast.
calendar in the United States.
Yep.
It's true.
The most popular.
No other committee or announcements, right? Okay. Well, then we'll move on to our normal committee reports. First, let's do the Conservation Committee, which is co-chaired by Dick and Chris Gouldy. I see Dick striding to the podium, so he's going to do it.
No, I'm going to kick it off, but thank you, Dan. Kick it off. Well, you never can leave Chris out, which he has the majority of the information. I have one thing that you need to know. As I think most of you know, transportation is a major contributor to pollution, air pollution, and climate pollution all over, and especially in Dallas. We started working with DART to help them in their planning, and they need volunteers from all parts of any city that has DART in it to assess and perfect their plan for revised bus schedules to serve more people. And then with what little money they have now and what money they'll have coming after that to prioritize new routes. So what they're asking for is volunteers who would be able to take 3 or 4 hours during the day, one time, we think, in March and April, and maybe some shorter follow-up meeting later. If that's something that you're interested in, see me, or You have a slide about that with my contact information? There we go. Write that down and send me your name and contact information, and I'll forward it on to them, and they'll know it's people from the Sierra Club that want to be, and it won't get lost in the office. And thanks very much.
All right. Before I start the announcements that I made slides for, I have some that I did not make slides for. One is that under one of the chairs in this room is a little pink sticker that will indicate that the person sitting in that chair has won a prize. So everybody look under your chair.
I have a pink sticker.
This one?
Oh, I didn't realize they had
There are multiple.
a sticky note that says win. Everybody found it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize they had red dots. Red
Go on to the next one.
What are you looking for?
The number between 1 and 100. All right, who was in this chair?
Okay, I think I need to win.
Carrie.
Carrie?
Carrie Fletcher, you're in.
You have the pink sticker that says win. What you have won is an LED light bulb, a 60-watt equivalent. This, if you replace a 60-watt incandescent bulb with this, even if the incandescent bulb has not burned out, especially if the incandescent bulb has not burned out, replace it with this and you will instantly reduce the amount of emissions caused by the electricity for lighting, for producing that light to 1/6 of what it was before. And over the lifetime of this bulb, you will save $60 worth of electricity.
Wow.
Everybody impressed?
Thank you.
So get those LED bulbs, you can get them for much less money than they used to be. Okay, next, another announcement I do not have a slide for. Molly Rook is going to tell us about a new website.
All right.
Hey, Molly.
Well, this is good news, which we could all use. There's an effort going forward from students. I know that they have been getting increasingly involved in climate action globally and here locally as well. And so I've been working with some students at some of the high schools here, in particular at the Townview High School. And some of them and others have been speaking in front of the Dallas ISD trustees. And we're now working on a resolution, working with some of the trustees for climate action. And so there is a website that's been put up, and we're gathering petitions. So you can pull up on your phone right now, turndisdgreen.com, and sign the petition. It's the button at the top. If you don't do it now, you may not do it. You just might forget or get busy. So it's turndisdgreen.com, and then you can see there what efforts are going forward. If you live in Dallas ISD, then it would be better later, in addition to signing that petition, if you could send an email to your trustee with a little more information about why you support it. And I'll be sending more information to Chris to send out in the Conservation News. So I hope that you will help to support this. We're hoping to push it through as fast as in February when they have their, not the next board meeting, but the one after that. The reason we're pushing so hard, in addition to the fact that we're in a climate crisis, is that this year Dallas ISD is going to have a multi-million-dollar bond to build new schools, and we need to have a climate action plan in place before that to make sure we get clean schools. We also need, of course, clean electric school buses and so forth. So this resolution would put in place a committee that'll come up with a plan within 6 months of what DISD can do to attack our climate crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Myra. All right. Next slide. Texas Trees Foundation has an event this Saturday, and I am going to pass around some clipboards that have these links on it, and this information is also on our website on the conservation page if you want to find out more about that. Next. Also, the Golden Triangle group of Sierra Club are having their annual planting of longleaf pines on Monday. If you are interested in that, please contact Erica Pelletier or me, and I will give you her contact information. I just talked to her this afternoon. On her site it says RSVP by yesterday, but she said, oh, if more people want to plan to come, that's fine. Okay, next. I mentioned TCEQ earlier, I think. We all know what Shingle Mountain is. It is a pile of shingles next to some people's houses. It was supposed to, the man who set up the business, Blue Star Shingles, was supposed to be recycling the shingles, and instead he made a terrible mess that is going to cost the city of Dallas lots of money, and walked away. So now he's trying to set up a business in Denton. The business is called Mutual First, and they have applied to TCEQ, that's the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality, for a permit for him to run a concrete crushing plant. In other words, he gets old concrete and smashes it to smithereens, again, allegedly to recycle it, but what this means is there's lots of silica particles. And in this picture, the red dot is the property that he wants to use. It is 600 feet from Fish Trap Park in Denton. It is 1,200 feet from the Elm Fork of the Trinity River. If you go to our conservation page, you can link to the place where you can tell TCEQ this is a really bad idea. Okay, next. On January 26th, I was hoping that Alinka would be here tonight, but she couldn't be. Alinka Green and Bree Jackson will talk about the Poor People's Campaign at First Unitarian Church of Dallas. And These are two women who are very passionate about that organization, what it has done and what it is planning to do. And I think that's all my announcements.
Wow. No time for other committees, but that's good. I'm kidding, Chris, kidding. Next, let's do, Ginger, do you want to say anything, like about the picnic, for example?
Yeah. We're having a picnic on April 11th at the same place, which is Churchill Park off of Hillcrest and Churchill Way. And so it's from 10 to 2, and there will be giveaways and water balloons and free food and free prizes again. And you never know what you're going to get when you show up. So come on out, join us.
But it's always good.
And it's especially for new members. So all you new members that showed up tonight, that would be great.
And I have a freebie from the last picnic that just didn't fit for my technology, so I'm going to put it on the table. If anybody wants it, it's yours.
What is it?
Magic mount or magnetic mount for a USB charger for your phone in the car.
Okay, let's do outings next. Mark Stein, the illustrious Outings Committee Chair, will give the report.
Hey, we're going to Big Bend in 3 weeks. That's the good news. The bad news for you is that the bus is full, but we've already managed to fit 4 or 5 people off of the wait list and onto the bus. So if you're interested in going, see me, because your odds are very good that we might have a vacancy or 2 before we leave on February 5. I don't have any light bulbs to give out, but I can offer a good time where you might learn something. On February 15th, we've got our semi-annually offered Backpacking 101 class where are we meeting, Liz?
At the Midway Hills.
Midway Hills Christian Church on Midway Road, interestingly enough, right just north of Royal Lane.
Yes.
It is a great way to pick up backpacking skills, the gear you need, techniques that you might want to know on one of our trips. If you're a beginner or if you backpacked 10 years ago and you're coming back, hey, the gear is all new. So it's a chance to update your skills. $40 and well worth it. This is the best backpacking class at the lowest price you'll find around Dallas. One more thing in February that you can do. Here's what you can do on Leap Year Day. We've got a great day hike coming up. Jim Binnings, one of our award winners for this year, has built up quite a following in his monthly day hikes. And he's got a day hike at Oak Point Park and Bob Woodruff Parks in Plano. I think it's at 8 to 2 o'clock, no later than 2. You can get information about all this stuff on our outings page, DallasSierraClub.org. Yes, Liz?
Just a reminder, we're serving food at the backpacking class, so we really would appreciate everybody pre-registering so we know how much food to get.
Yeah, and it'll be real backpacking food. A chance to try out which are the good freeze-dried things and which aren't.
You don't need to give out light bulbs, Mark. You light the room up just by yourself. Thank you, thank you. I'll be here all week. Now let's do David Griggs, our political committee chair.
Do I like the room, Dan?
Oh boy, look at it.
Well, thanks to all of you. You're going to hear a lot about politics this year. You may have heard there's an election. In fact, there's several of them. The first of which is the primary, which is on March the 3rd. How many of you are registered to vote? Raise your hand. Okay, that's great. If you're not, Larry, raise your hand back there. Larry Simpson is I guess you almost are a professional voter registrar.
Volunteer
You're
deputy
registered
voter
in half the counties of Texas. So if you need to register to vote and you live anywhere near here, you see Larry, because we need you to vote in the primaries. I'm the chair of the Lone Star Chapter Political Committee. Yes, Chris?
Isn't there an election on February, in February for place 100? That special election?
Yes. Is anybody in House District 100? Okay. That's the one that Mayor Eric Johnson vacated to become mayor. There's a special election in that district. We're not really involved in that one, but if anybody's in that race, that's a special election. There's another one down in the Houston area, which we are very much involved in, but that's really not important to you all. What is important is that you get registered to vote before the March primary, because that's going to be a key thing. There's 3 levels in the Sierra Club. There's the local, the state, and the national. Our local executive committee, with the input of our political committee, has made an endorsement of Commissioner Teresa Daniel. For any of you who live in District 1, which is one of the 4 county commissioner districts here, she's challenged in the primary, and hopefully she'll come next month and you'll get to meet her. At the state level, we have a lot of endorsements we're starting to make for State House, State Senate, Railroad Commissioner, and other areas. Most of those endorsements will come for the general election, but there are some incumbents who are challenged in the primary. We may, for good incumbents, make some endorsements there. And then finally, the national level, which deals with congressional endorsements for Senate and House. And we have not made any endorsements there yet. Of course, that's the National Political Committee. But we are honored tonight to have one of the candidates that's running for United States Congress in House District 24, which is mostly northwest Dallas County and northeast Tarrant County. Jan, would you stand up? This is my friend, Jan McDowell. Jan was the nominee for the Democratic Party in 2016 and in 2018, and she's running again this time. She came within 3 points of defeating Kenny Marchant, who had been a member of Congress for many years, who's not going to run again, and Jan has 6 opponents. And like I say, we haven't weighed into that race yet, but Jan is a friend of mine. She's an experienced candidate. I know she's strong on issues of climate change and other issues. She's come to our meetings. So please, every one of you who vote, be sure you meet Jan before you leave tonight. What's your district? Just generally tell me what area, what city.
District 24. We're sitting in it right here. So it's Carrollton, Farmers Branch, Addison, Capel, most of Irving, Grapevine, Colleyville, Southlake, and little bits of other towns. There's a chunk of Dallas in it as well. So.
If you live in this general part of town, you're likely in what hopefully will be Jan's district. But anyway, that's in the primary. Be sure you meet Jan before you leave tonight. And other than that, I think we're done. So thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Okay, I think now we're ready to have our program chairs come up and introduce our speaker for tonight. So here comes Victoria Howard. Yay!
Thank you, Dan. I am so glad to see all of you tonight. Happy New Year, and thank you for being here and starting the new year off right, in my opinion. Renee is actually going to formally introduce our speaker, but before we do that, I wanted to just remind everyone that this is the last time that you are going to see one of these guys here at the Dallas Sierra Club meetings. This guy's saying goodbye, and this guy's saying goodbye. And so what it will be replaced with is compostable plates that when you throw them in the trash, they will compost and break down quickly. We're asking that you all bring your own drinking apparatuses, whatever that is that works for you, to the meetings. We will have compostable plastic cups. Believe it or not, there is such a thing. I will give a caveat to that. Compostable plastic cups are not super easy to compost. So they're better than plastic, but they're not ideal. But they will be here as a last resort if someone forgets something or needs something to drink. So one other thing to mention before we welcome Marcus, it's a new year, we're starting new traditions and new intentions. And one of those is we would like to feature environmentally friendly restaurants, bakeries, caterers. If you know one of these groups or people, please steer them Renee and my way. Also, Jasmine, who couldn't be here with us tonight, she usually does all the food that we enjoy. We would love to have samples of their food, maybe purchase some of their food, and highlight all the wonderful culinary works that are done in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that kind of don't get enough notice. So Renee and I and Jasmine are committed to walking the talk of environmentalism kind of in every aspect of what we do here at the Sierra Club, and that includes how our food is produced and how we spend our money. In my experience, you want to change the world, you control where you spend your money. And so we would love to highlight these small businesses that are really, really making a difference. So, Miss Renee, would you please do the honors?
Okay, just to reiterate, Happy New Year to everybody. And again, we do want to start the new year off right. So let's think about recycling. If you have not been recycling, don't beat yourself up too bad. That can be a New Year's resolution. I did my carbon footprint, and it was a lot. So I got a lot to change. So I'm working on that too, as we all are. That's why some of those things are going away. And we have to do this together. We can't make people, you know, just feel they're out there trying to learn things on their own. That's what we're here for, to be a resource. And for our speaker tonight is Mr. Marcus Russell, and he is president of Commissary. It's very necessary. And if you're not sure what that is, he'll give you a good detail. One of the things we look at is trying to promote in communities where the culture that's there does not take ownership of businesses and of the community. You don't do as well, because the culture, we need the culture to thrive. We need to be able to be diverse, and we need to take care of our communities. And so one of the things we advocate is those kind of things. So without much further ado, I'm going to let him take it over.
How y'all doing this evening? Good. I appreciate y'all coming out. My name is Marcus Russell. Like I told you, I'm president of Commissary. It's very necessary. We work out of the Highland Hills area. We actually work any area from the southeast of Dallas on I-45. We also work out of the Stop 6 area, Fort Worth. I'm here today to present my organization and what we do to battle social injustice and environmental injustice in the Dallas and Fort Worth area. Okay. How can do I come over here? Okay. Just let me scroll. Okay.
Is that all you guys do?
Yeah. I did. I clicked on it. Okay. Okay. So Commissary very necessary. What we do, we provide education, resources, and empowerment for children, youth, and families who have relatives incarcerated. We also provide services for children in juvenile services, and we also provide services for children who have parents in immigration. That's a big thing going on right now. At Commissary very necessary, every child gets a plate and a seat at the table. And what we mean by that, a lot of children these days, their opinions are left out. They're not brought to the table to understand what's going on. Well, I know children can't vote, but I feel like their opinions are very important, and they should be asked questions, and they should be brought into the fold of major decisions of what's going on in the world, because a child's mind and how they think is very brilliant, and I think people should recognize that. Okay, Commissary is very necessary. It's a 501c3 charitable organization providing communal service support to youth families in our underserved neighborhoods who have been incarcerated. First thing I want to do, now to understand Commissary is very necessary, you must understand the area that we serve and what's going on in the area that we serve. Okay. So, one of our first concerns is health and healthcare. According to the 2019 Health Assessment Report, 5 of the unhealthy zip codes are in Dallas or in the southeast Dallas County: 75210, 75215, 75216, 75217, and 75241. And 75215 has the lowest life expectancy in Dallas at 66. These are the zip codes we serve. The report points out where we really need to be focused on a lot of effort to improve access to care, said Dr. Philip Hung, who leads the county health department. But it's more than just getting people to the doctor, Hung, and the other officials familiar with the poor stress. We need to address early childhood education, transportation, criminal justice, and homelessness. Hung said it is not just the clinical health care. To make long-term impact, we have to work on all these issues to break the cycles. According to KER News, in a report from January 2020, the Texas Tribune says that Dallas has the largest number of homeless people in the state, with a large number as possible as 4,000 children. And those children will be students. Our second concern is the neighborhood and environment. To better track drug activity and crime in the city of Dallas, it has been invited into targeted action area grids by the DPD, which they call tags. They are considered the most dangerous neighborhoods, or tags, in Dallas, based primarily off crime and drug and poverty statistics. These are the zip codes from the Southeast Dallas County DPT Assessment Evaluation Public Safety Criminal Justice Committee, which is 75241, 75216, 75210, and 75217, which are a lot of the same zip codes. Okay? And we're going to education, which is our next most important thing. According to The Magazine, a report from the commit CEO, Ty Williams, says 7 of the Texas 30 highest inmate zip codes sit within Dallas DISD education. And incarceration have and sadly become intricately linked. Children of incarcerated parents are more likely to experience financial stability, social stigma, post-traumatic stress, and these adverse childhood experiences are in turn linked to lower educational attainment. Moreover, high school and post-secondary graduation rates have been shown to directly impact crime rates. When you combine this data with the recent data produced about the concentration of poor health outcomes, these exact same zip codes, you quickly get the sense that a child's chance for life success, if born within certain Dallas communities, is incredibly impaired, no fault of their own boundaries. With the two highest being 75216 and 75217, and though in 75241, 75215, 75228, and 75277, that's saying a lot for the city of Dallas to have the most people incarcerated in the state coming from Dallas, and 2 of the primary zip codes where commissary is very necessary is working in. I think like at least 4 of those zip codes are the zip codes in Southeast Dallas where we work. The next thing is economic stability. The Urban Institute report in 2015 says that Dallas-Fort Worth has the worst income inequality by neighborhood in the U.S., in the whole United States. The Dallas commuting zone, home to about 3.7 million residents, had the highest degree of neighbors inequality any area reviewed. The Urban Institute's Ralph Condell, who wrote the report, attributed this to the area's extremely low average wages for poor communities, along with the regional education system that trails other parts of the country. The dark areas show the worst area in the Southeast Dallas County is shaded dark. So here you go again with this economic stability, and here's my area, CIVN's area right here. It's very dark. This is really sad for the city of Dallas that in different areas people are like making 4 times as much, and the difference between the poor and the rich in Dallas is very extreme. It's the most extreme in the United States of America. Okay, so we covered economic stability, which I showed you that in my areas, these are the poorest areas in Dallas, possibly the poorest areas in the state of Texas. Also showed you the education and showing you that in my areas where I'm at, these zip codes have the most people incarcerated from these zip codes. Neighborhood and environment, which I use the tag, which my zip codes are all tagged zip codes, which means they're the most dangerous, crime-affected, poverty, and drug neighborhoods. And I went over health and care, which shows that the 5 unhealthy zip codes are actually where CIVN does its business and it works. And there's a reason that I'm showing you this, because this directly relates to some other things I'm about to show you. Everybody okay?
Yep.
All right. Let's have some fun. I don't want to just be a downer, y'all. But I got to give y'all the truth, because I know a lot of people don't. This is real devastating news that if you live way over on the north side of town, I want to put you into people's shoes on this side to understand their perspective and where they're coming from and how it's going on. So we had the ecological devastation tour. Commissary is very necessary. Climate Reality Project, a link of the Poor People's Campaign. It was very successful. The Dallas Sierra Club supported CIVN. We really appreciate everything y'all did, and we can't wait to do other ventures with y'all. Okay, Commissary is very necessary has partnered with the DIW Climate Reality. Poor People's Campaign, the Dallas Sierra Club, is November 26 in 2019 to bring about an awareness of environmental justice to the North Texas communities. The first place we visited was the Lane Plating Works at 5322 Bonneview Road, Dallas, Texas. One thing you should be looking at is that zip code. That's that 75241, which was the zip code in every category I mentioned earlier. So you gotta understand, when I show you these zip codes, they're related to the other things I was showing you. It's a direct relation between environmental devastation and crime rate, poverty, drug use, education. The second place we went to was the PSR lead smelter site, 3021 Singleton Boulevard. From the 1930s to 1984, a company called RSR Corporation operated a notorious lead car battery smelter in West Dallas, a section of the city that became one of the few areas where black people could live in the segregated poorest World War II era. The EPA Superfund site covers 13.6 square miles. We talked to one of the residents on the site from the West Dallas area affected by the lead. PBS was filming every step of the way, and so was Dallas Observer. The Dallas Morning News, which somebody was just up here talking about them, had a report where they're redeveloping a 7-Eleven, and when I read the report, they dug up the soil and it's recontaminated the area. So that's something that really needs to, and that's why we do these tours, and that's why we bring in this awareness to what's going on, because the past can come back to haunt you. And then we had fellowship and food. Made a pit stop at Two Ponders Seafood, 1441 Robert Cullen, at 75210. Another important reason that we stopped in that neighborhood. That's a tag community. That's a community that's really been devastated. It's one of those same zip codes that I told y'all about earlier. We talked, we relaxed, we ate. This was a really good time. We really had fun. The food was wonderful. You could tell everyone was excited about the tour and anticipating the other sites. This was after the bus got stuck in the mud. Raise your hand if you were there and the bus got stuck in the mud and you was there. Okay. But we persevered. For 30 minutes we sat there. We put sticks under the bus. We tried to push it. When it wouldn't go, I just called another bus. They came and picked us up and we were on our way. We weren't going to let bad energy stop us, because whatever we was doing, we knew it was great when that bus stopped. All right. And then we went to Jopley Park, 4753 Fellows Lane, Dallas, Texas, 75216. After eating, we went to Jopley, and it was considered a historic area, one of the 30 freedmen towns established around Dallas. Current population about 500. Air pollution from the adjoining rail yard, asphalt batch, and shingle factory appear to be higher than any other parts of Dallas, but yet no measurement has been published. And this 75216, you see that's another one of those communities, that zip code that falls in line with all of what I showed you at first. And that's very important for y'all to see. These are the same zip codes. And then we have Shingle Mountain. The next site are two properties next to 5 Mile Creek that were covered by grass and trees in September 2017, were covered by a 40-foot pile of used shingles by November 2017 by Blue Star Recycling. Now reports have we just learned before I came up have surfaced that the company is trying to open a dump in Denton, and I'm not for sure, but I just call it a dump because of the kind of company they run, a dump company, in Denton, even after all those violations. And guess what? Look at that area code, 75241. It's also a tag community. All these communities are tag communities, and there's a connection between environmental devastation and the poverty was going on in these communities, because everywhere they have these ecologically devastation sites from these big businesses, that's where the worst things are happening in these communities. And then we went to Sand Branch. Our last stop was an unincorporated community settlement in 1878 by former slaves. It's starting to overcome neglect by the county and connect to a water supply. And a report from Housingly.com said that Sand Branch was one of the top 10 most dangerous areas in Dallas based on water and poverty. Often referred to in the media as the forgotten neighborhood, Sand Branch is the poorest neighborhood in Dallas, with most residents living on Social Security and disability. Although crime is a significant problem in most parts of the city, a lack of clean water is the most dangerous aspect of living there. Located in a floodplain, the city decided it wasn't cost effective to build a levee around the community, allowing drinking water to become contaminated by runoff. Unfortunately, their limited income makes it almost impossible for residents to afford bottled water. It is also a tag community. And that was surprising to me that Sand Branch was a tag community, because we went there. It was really a beautiful place, a lot of land, a lot of scenery, and a lot of water, but they just didn't have access to water. And right here you can see the well that the man was using. He said that was his water, that was his bathing, that was his drinking, that was his cooking water, that was his everything. And so these are the kind of disparities people are living in Dallas, Texas. So you have someone who lives in Highland Park who income is 6 to 7 times of somebody who's living in Sand Branch who can't even afford a bottle of water and doesn't even have running water. So these are the disparities and the ecological devastation that's going on in Dallas in these communities, and I really believe there needs to be some kind of outrage going on. When you have, Dallas has the largest homeless population. They have a large student population, from which I read is almost 5,000 kids. My organization, we actually be in the apartments. We're an apartment-based organization. So we talk to the kids. We actually know what's going on. We understand the homelessness and how it's related to drug use and other things. But the connection is that this environmental devastation is really taking a toll on these communities. They're already poor communities, and to add this on is just more devastating. Everybody awake? Yeah. All right. Any questions? No?
Marcus?
Yes, ma'am.
Someone asked me tonight whether there will be another devastation bus tour.
We are in the works, putting another devastation bus tour together with Olinka Green. But right now, I've officially joined the Poor People's Campaign, and we're putting a bus tour to Washington, D.C. And I think it's, we're trying to get all the states together, the Poor People Campaign in every state, and we're doing an environmental trip to Washington, D.C. to go protest. But that is in the works. But if right now, like I say, we are doing a bus tour, but it's to Washington, D.C. Okay. Any more questions? Who missed the bus tour and want to go? Okay.
Marcus, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the pictures that I saw from your trip that I couldn't go on was of this man that you were talking about in Sand Branch, where outside of his house was actual running sewage because he has no plumbing. And I don't know if everyone recognizes how much we take for granted, right? Anyone who's had their toilet stopped up for a day, multiply that by 365 days. And then imagine that it's running down the street outside your house. This is really pathetic. You know, it is unfathomable to me that this is being avoided in this part of the world.
And you're right. And I'm gonna tell you what's even worse, that Sand Branch it's in the county, but it's in the country. But we can go right to Highland Hills and go to the apartments, and you'll see sewage coming up out of the ground, toilet paper, feces, and this is in the city limit. So the same thing that you saw there is happening in the city limit. I see it every day. I walk through the apartments, they smell horrible, sewage running down the side of the street, flowing up, and it's just Dallas. Dallas is in an illusion of thinking that they're one of the top cities, and because so many people are moving here. But it's embarrassing when all these people are moving to Dallas, and then I'm a Dallasite, so I'm from Dallas. So I don't want people moving here and then seeing what we are allowing, and then they looking at us like, this is what y'all do in Dallas. Y'all let this be the biggest homeless center, homeless children, crime rate, poverty. So it's really embarrassing. When I did the report, it's really embarrassing to me to see that Dallas was in such a bad state. I didn't know it was this bad. And it's mostly just that I-45 freeway, you know, from South Dallas to Pleasant Grove to Oak Cliff. And it needs to be some change because the cup is overflowing. The cup is overflowing. I know y'all see all the murders, the children getting murdered on the news and different things going on. And the cup can overflow. And, you know, a lot of people say it has nothing to do with me. Oh, that has nothing to do with me. But then when it affects you, it hits home, you're like, oh, it did have something to do with me. You know, so let me keep going. And so these same communities are food deserts also. Yeah, questions?
Not a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Those same zip codes, just so everybody knows, my church is in that zip code.
Your church is in that zip code.
We're in both of them. We're on the corner, so
Yeah.
41 and 16.
Yeah.
And Parkland is part of I work at Parkland. We have a collaborative that is trying to get access along that corridor. Because the other thing is, there's not a clinic there. There's a clinic by South Oakland High School, which is good, but there's also a transportation problem there.
Yeah.
Those same zip codes coincide with the chronic diseases. So diabetes is up, hypertension is up, dialysis is up from long-standing hypertension, and then the diabetes gets triggered because there are no healthy food choices really.
Right, you're right.
Save Long, Save a Lot, those are these stores. There's no Tom Thumb, Kroger, menus for miles around.
Yeah.
So what you see are chicken tracks and all that coincides, and that very environment, when you're hungry, you feel and act differently. Anybody ever get hungry and you're irritated? When you're hungry, children cannot learn. They're not as happy, they're not as healthy, and it just impacts the whole family when you are not healthy. And so I just want to piggyback on that. It goes into that too.
And a lot of ways, and you also, I want to piggyback that in South Dallas is one of the only areas in Texas probably where HIV is on the rise. So, you know, along with that, and what we do to combat that hunger, we have community beautification days. We have community healing days. We'll go into an apartment, one of the most violent, murderous apartments in Dallas. We'll go in there, we'll set up a barbecue grill. I have a brother right here with the Black American Red Cross. He always supports me. He brings the food, he brings the barbecue grills. We'll feed the whole apartment complex. I'm talking about every single person. And thank you. And not only do we feed the whole apartment complex, we talk to them. We knock on doors. We want to know your concerns. What's really going on in this community? And when I say we feed the whole apartment complex, we're dealing with apartments where half the people don't stay in apartments. They're just homeless people, and they go into the vacant apartments at night, and that's where they live. Most of the people live at the stores. They don't have a home. They just live at the stores, and about 2, 3 in the morning, they break into apartments and apartment complexes around, and that's how they survive, and that's how they live. So when I say we're feeding the whole apartment complex, we're feeding the homeless too. Because most people that you see, you know, it's not regular apartments in Highland Hills. Hold on, I almost got emotional right there, sorry about that, y'all. And so, let me go, is this it? No, that's not it.
Marcus,
Yes, sir.
the comment about the food remind me that Tamika DeRoe wanted to come tonight and was unable to come because of a different commitment, but she wants to help a
YMCA?
Near Fair Park.
Okay.
With a community garden, and she's asked for help from the Sierra Club.
Okay.
To get that garden going.
She asked the right people.
And the status is that they have beds already, so it's not like materials have to be bought or beds have to be put in place, but they need somebody with gardening experience who could go down, hopefully once a week during the weekdays, and advise them on how to grow plants and care for them and harvest them. And the reason this is so important is it sets an example for growing your own good food, taking care of it, enjoying it, learning how to cook it and eat it, and it fulfills one of the needs in that community. So I forgot, since she didn't show up, to let her ask if anybody here would like to do that, be like a leader in that project to get others and share the time. Please also see me afterwards so we can see if we can help her.
Okay. If nobody here contacts you, send me the email. You know, I'll help.
Or just come and get me.
All right.
Done.
And now I want to show you our how we want to combat the food desert area that we live in. It's just really, I mean, anything you can think of, I could place on that area. You can go Google it, and it's that. So those zip codes of food desert area. Our community kids gardening program gives children not only a profitable skill set, but also turns them into environmentalists at an early age. It teaches them health, wealth, and the value of being in nature. The children are future protectors of the planet and must be given all resources, education, and empowerment to lead the world into a bright future. Commissary is very necessary. Lone Star Human Services and Hopeful Solutions have 3 community gardens and 2 after-school programs in Highland Hills where we are addressing the food desert with education, resources, and empowerment. Each garden is a classroom. And I have some pictures of the garden. This is the Greens Garden that we have in apartments that are affectionately known as the Greens by the community, but their real name is Highland Park Apartments, and it's nothing like Highland Park, I promise you. This is also in the Greens, where we had, so you see our development. We also have the Shirley B. Russell Community Garden, which is our biggest garden. This is Devontae Peters. He's on the board of directors. I don't know if y'all familiar with him. He ran for Dallas City Council last year. He's only 25 years old. He's part of the Dallas 9. So this shows him teaching the kids how to build raised beds. This is another picture of the garden we're developing. This is the only one we haven't really developed yet. I've become a grant writer of lately, so I've written a couple of grants to kids in gardening for our gardens, so hopefully that'll come through. This is Mountain Creek Apartments, which is affectionately known as the Browns. And we have a garden. This is the garden right here, and you see we're developing it. We're working with Lone Star Human Services and Grow Oak Cliff on this project. This is another shot of the garden in the Greens. We're working with Paul Quinn College. We work with Bonton Farms. They've been our mentors. They supplied us with those garden beds you've seen and and some soil and different things for that. And it's a very big area that we're going to expand because this apartment right here is inside the Greens. So what we did, we built a 10-foot gate around the apartment complex, inside that apartment complex. And we gave it to Natlin, which is her name. She has a nonprofit called Hopeful Solutions. And what Hopeful Solution does, it helps women who have gotten off drugs, been out of drug rehab for 3 months, and they want to keep their children. So we give them opportunity to move in these apartments and bring their children along. And it's really been a great program. And And surprisingly, you'd be very surprised that all the women and children in these apartments are white. So, but it's a black neighborhood, a very black, bad neighborhood. So if you've ever seen us doing the community patrols at night, which is not CIVN, it's more of a CES. If you see us doing the community patrols at night, protecting the neighborhoods, that's what we were protecting. We were protecting those women and children in those projects from the crime that was going on in the other projects. Because before we came, there was a murder every week, there was a robbery every day. It was the worst neighborhood in Dallas, which I'm saying the Highland Park Apartments, which is the Greens, which it was called, when we got to the community, called it Death Row. And within a week from being there, they came because they say, we're gonna change it from Death Row to I Have a Dream. Because there have been no more murders in these apartments, there have been no more robberies, and it's been just a wonderful and a great experience for us to be able to come into the worst apartments in Dallas, to where the murder started last year, and everybody was so concerned about all the murders going on. We said, we're gonna take it on. We went in those apartments. We stopped the murders, we stopped the robberies. We showed the people in the apartment there that there are black men who are role models and who aren't on drugs or doing illegal activities, that want to help you and care about the community. And these are the same apartments we have community beautification days, where we have the children clean up the whole apartments. So we get the children, we get volunteers to come, we just pick up all the trash. If the management needs us to go into vacant apartments and they trash the vacant apartments, we'll go into vacant apartments and clean them up for them too. So, and it's 4 apartment complexes in Highland Hills. One is called the Pinks, the Whites, the Greens, and the Browns. Those are affectionate names from the community. They've been calling it that since the 70s. And so it's, and from that little area, that little protected bubble that we created, it really slowed the murders down in Dallas. It really slowed the crime down. It gave people an opportunity to think about something different. Just like the sister said when she got up, people are hungry. So the reason we feed the whole apartment complex, so we can give these people an opportunity to think about something besides where they're gonna get their next meal from. They can actually maybe come up with a great ideal or something great, but you don't have time to come up with something great when you're starving and you're hungry and you're trying to figure out where your next meal is. So, and maybe you're on drugs and you're addicted. And so it's a lot of mental health issues going on in this community, but and at this time I'm also part of the Highland Hills Action Community Committee with Olinka Green. And what we're doing, we're checking the water. We're trying to make sure that the apartments, there's no lead in the water because the plant is right down the street from these apartments. And like I showed you, like everywhere we work, there's a big business who has a business that's destroyed the community. So I want to say it's a direct connection to that somehow. But what we must do to keep these big businesses in check is that we have to become environmental historians. History is so important. As a black man, I know when your history is stolen from you and your history is gone, then you end up in a devastated situation. So the same thing is going on with the earth and the environment, is that we have to know our history. That's why we had the devastation tour, so people can know the history of companies coming in and what they have done and how they messed up. So when people want to start companies now, like, oh, I know the history of that, that's what's going to happen. We're not going to do that. But if we don't know the history, we don't know what's going on, we don't know what happened in the past, then we'll always destroy the future because you're not learning from your mistakes. So we must restore environmental concern in companies in their big plans. We must not only reform ideas about money and markets, but we must also reform ideals and thoughts about the earth, wind, water, and fire when they're making their business plans. If one knows the past, one does not have to make the same mistakes as their predecessors. We have an opportunity in this information age to educate the businesses on the importance and roles that the environment plays in human life. And that's something we must really do. I think when it comes to the environment, people want land. They want to use the land. They want to destroy the land. They want to use it for its resources. And if there's people on that land, what do you think they're going to do to those people to get those resources? If you don't want to sell it, we're going to take it. We're going to kill you. We're going to we'll destroy you, and we'll destroy the land. So to make people care about people in impoverished communities and what's going on, we got to make them start caring about the land that they're standing on. We got to start making them caring about the environment. And so you wouldn't want to burn down the Amazon just to get land and kill all those people. You know, you would love the land, and you would know that that's the lungs of the planet. So you would know that that was something that we need, and you would cherish it, and you wouldn't want to kill the people. Just like the same thing that's going on in Australia. A lot of the Aboriginal people were killed, and they were the ones of the knowledge of how to stop brush fires and put the fires out. They've been there since ancient times. But if you get rid of them, you get rid of that knowledge, and you get rid of that love for the land. And so that's what I'm trying to bring back. That's what commissary is very necessary. Is doing in the Southeast region. We're bringing back a love for the land. We're bringing back a love for the environment. We partner with a lot of great people. We partner with Paul Quinn College. They have one of the largest gardens in the area, community garden. They help us out. We want to take what Paul Quinn did and do it for the whole community. I don't know if y'all know the story of Paul Quinn. The school was about to be shut down. The president came and changed the whole school and turned it around, and now it's one of the top schools in the country. And so, and this school is right here in this impoverished neighborhood where we're at. So if a miracle could be done for a historical HBCU in that community, then we want to do that same miracle for the rest of the community around it. And they had a great game plan. And so that's why we have these community gardens, 3 community gardens in the same community. And we want to do the same thing in Stop 6. This is not something that we're just designated to just hide here, because an injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. So we want to be on the side of the environment. We want to be on the side of the people. And that's what commissary is very necessary is doing in the community. Okay, and this is one of the classrooms in the Browns apartment. So each classroom is like really close to the garden. And those are the kids in the classroom. The kids really love that they have people that's concerned about them. Like we'll go knock on the doors of every apartment. Like, what y'all need? Oh, we need groceries. We need toilet paper. We need this. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna get the resources and we're gonna give it to them. We're not rich, but we are resourceful. And we do this in every apartment complex. We also have back to school drives where we go in the apartments and we give out 200 backpacks. We're big on books. Every event we've had this year, we gave out over 1,500 books in 2019 to kids. And another way that we do incentives for the kids to make sure they stay in the program and want to be part of the program, we had the Keep It 100 toy drive for the holidays. We want to give 100 gifts to 100 kids for the holiday season. I kind of put my foot in my mouth when I said 100 kids, but we ended up actually serving, I think, almost 250 kids. I think it was a real great, we had like 3 or 4 events. We had, on December 14, 29, we started the Keep It 100 drive, holiday winter coat toy and book drive at Estelle Village Apartments, better known as the Pinks. We gave out about 40 winter coats, hats, and books to kids who need it in the cold winter Texas. We also fed and mentored the children at CIVN. Every child gets a coat, hat, book, and something to eat during the winter months. So this is pictures of us giving out jackets last year now, and the kids in our program. And then we did the part 2, which we did at our community garden in the Greens apartments. And so that's Alika Green right there. She set up a table with the books and toys, and we also have another table with books and toys. I'll just read it to you. On December 22nd, 2019, we continued the holiday drive in Highland Park Apartments, 6271 Highland Hills Drive, known by the community as the Browns. And we start, well, it's the Greens, I need to change that. When we started an after-school program, we have a community garden set up. We gave out gifts, books, food. We also had nail beautician and face painter along with author Madeline Goodland, who raffled off her children's book, Hunter Parker and Hip, which can be purchased at Amazon. She is also account manager for Diversified Skills Staffing and got parents signed up for jobs. So we not only look out for the kids, when we have our events, we're gonna have a job staffing person there to get the parents jobs if they don't have jobs. So anything that we can do for the community, we do it. Because we know that at the end of the day, they need help. And by helping them, we're gonna help the environment. Like, when you go through the Greens now, you don't see little kids throwing trash everywhere. Because we gave them that, look, love your community. This is where you stay. Don't throw trash on the ground. But they didn't have role models to give them that type of advice. We served like 150 kids at the Keep It 100 Drive. And then after Christmas, I gave out gifts to kids every day. I celebrated Kwanzaa with them, so I gave out gifts every day. It's just showing me giving out gifts every day to the first, to kids who in underserved communities or have relatives incarcerated that couldn't provide for them. And I was also we were given a certificate from Angel Tree, because they gave us 100 kids, and we served 100 of their kids who have parents incarcerated. And we partnered with Toys for Tots. Toys for Tots is great. They gave us, I only asked for like 100 gifts. They gave me like 300 gifts. So I was able to give all the kids on the 100 list gifts. I was able to give all the kids in the green apartments gifts. Then I was able to go to the pink apartments and give all the kids gifts. I think it made me feel really good. Let's see. I'll let me go over my time now. And so, another way to deal with big business is to create big business environmentalists. These are the kids, our first kids that are on our program. One of them is right here. These kids go everywhere with us. They volunteer with us. They work with us. So we have kids we serve, but we also have kids we mentor. And so when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And so with our gardening program, we're going to start growing lemon trees. And I know trees are hard to grow. You got to water them for 3 years before they get together. But this was a great event where I had the kids come together, lemonade stand. And what it did is showed them a way that they can make money. It showed them that as a kid, they could be an entrepreneur right now and an environmentalist at the same time without destroying the environment. And it showed them that nature can provide for you. So they showed their little stand. They made a little money. Kids in Business is very necessary. Our Business for Kids program empowers children to know that they can make business decisions at an early age. 11-year-old Namaya describes how she told her mother she wanted her own business and how our Lemonade Stand program has made her dreams a reality. So you can't hear it, but that's what she's saying. She's talking about her mother and how she talked about her mother about in the future, how she wanted to start a business, and how that us showing her now as an 11-year-old, you don't have to wait till you're 18, that you can start a business right now, and it really blew her mind. And it's just a great thing we're doing for kids in the community. Let me see. Okay, and another way we keep big businesses in check is that we have voter registration events. Last year, we had the Trap to Vote Political Education Voter Registration Concert and Q&A series. The Trap to Vote concert series started on April 25th, 2019 with local Dallas artists. CIVN partnered with Texas Workers Families for this event. We had many performances mixed in with speeches from civil rights lawyers, community activists, and candidates for office about why we need the youth to vote. Young people in Dallas-Fort Worth our area only turn out to a vote of 1% in municipal elections. So these concerts address the need to change that. We also had the Trap to Vote Q&A with presidential candidate Julian Castro. We brought him to South Dallas, which is one of the zip code areas. We didn't want to take him to a zip code that really didn't need the help. We wanted to take him somewhere where the people were struggling and they needed, and we wanted South Dallas to feel like people cared about them. So we brought him to South Dallas. We had community activists, concerned citizens, and the youth asked hard questions, bringing president candidates to underserved communities, help these areas with empowerment and a sense of importance to the nation as a whole. Both events were packed and provided education through speakers, resources from our deputy voter registrars, which I'm a deputy voter registrar, and empowerment with the community's voices being heard. We do not support or promote any political campaigns or events or strictly educational for voter registration. Want to know more, come to our next event. And so this is, I don't know if y'all know the civil rights lawyer Lee Mayer. He came and spoke. Devontae D. Peters performed. He's also a conscious rapper, go by Brother Shaw. We had other people perform. This is one of the flyers. I think we met Senator Nina Turner at the Bernie Sanders. She's Bernie Sanders' national chair. She supported Trap the Vote. And this is when Julian, we brought him to South Dallas, and I think it's just great. And so we have a new Trap the Vote event. It's going to be small. It's going to be in the Pink's Apartments. It's a register to vote event. We're having it on the 19th. We're going to have concert, free food, and giving out free books to the community. We try to do an event like 4 times a month. So once a week, we basically do events. Every event we give away books. So, you know, we try to hit every area. We go to the city hall meetings, we speak. We go to the DISD board meetings, we speak. We go to the town hall meetings and we speak. We speak personally to the mayor. We speak personally to the city manager. We speak personally to city councilmen. But it seems like what we say goes on a deaf ear, because it seems like the city of Dallas, they would rather make money off problems than solve them. So we had to stop coming to the city councilman with problems, because it seemed like every time we would show them a new problem, they see money, because that's how they make money. And I would read the paper or be on Facebook like, oh, I just told him this. Now they're trying to do this to make some money off of it. So I try not to give them my problems and stuff like that. You know, I went to the mayor, and basically what they did, they stole our intellectual property and, you know, gave the grants to other groups who are not going to do nothing in the community. All they're going to do is just put the money in their pocket. So that's what we need to change about the city of Dallas, is what's going on. And I really appreciate y'all having me out. Y'all are a beautiful crowd. Y'all are a great group. It was wonderful coming out. And I just, I can't wait to do the next great things with y'all. And we are having a tour coming up. And I want to sit down with the Dallas Sierra Club and make them a bigger part of the tour next time. I thank y'all for having me. Questions? I have a question. So, did you learn anything that you didn't know already?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Was there any disturbing things in there? Yeah. There are some things that the Sierra Club is going to fight for, because CIVN is down with the Sierra Club. We're going to fight with y'all. Y'all fight with us, and we're going to change this city. And I appreciate y'all.
Wait, I just have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
When I went on the tour, you were explaining to me what the name of the group means.
Oh.
Commissary is very necessary. I just wanted to talk about that again.
Okay. Commissary is very necessary. It's like a famous hashtag that people were using. It is a military term, and it's a prison term, because in prison you get commissary, and in the military you get commissary. If you don't have any money when you're in jail, you don't get any food, so you don't have any commissary. So that's why people say commissary is very necessary. It's so important to put money on your relatives' books in jail, or they'll be in there starving, you know, because they don't really feed them. So, and the same as the Army, commissary is very necessary to have money. And I know on the tour, the guy said commissary is very necessary, but he wasn't talking about my organization when he said it, and that's what you asked me. He's saying commissary is very necessary. I was like, it's a phrase. So he's not really, he didn't even know about my organization. So a lot of times I go places and people just say, commissary is very necessary, and I look. And I be thinking they know me, but they don't. It's just like a real famous phrase. And it's basically just saying that food, clothing, and shelter is necessary. All right?
Thank you, Marcus. I'm sure that Dallas Sierra Club will be working with you and Olinka and others in the future a lot more. Okay, Vice Chair, comment?
Mr. Chair, I have a question. Maybe I just missed it, but you were saying Olinka won, I believe, our Environmental Justice Award. I believe Marcus was the co-winner of that award.
Yeah, I forgot to show
that. You did?
Tell them that's what I said, people.
It is.
It was on the thing, and I forgot to scroll to the bottom. I had a picture of us winning the award. I forgot to show it. It was at the bottom of the Ecological Devastation Tour, me and Olinka Green with our awards that y'all gave us. And you know what, that was just, I really appreciate that. I'm the type of person, you do something for me, it goes to my heart. So, you know, I will never forget y'all for that. And I really appreciate it because so many things go undeserved in the city. So many great people in the city of Dallas, so many great organizations in the city, and people don't get their just due. And it's like the Dallas Sierra Club, they deserve a lot of credit too. Y'all should give y'allself a hand clap right now for the great things y'all doing in the city of Dallas. Because when I say Dallas Sierra Club, when I go places, eyes get big, you know, they're like, oh yeah, my mom, yeah, okay, yeah. So y'all have done a lot of great things. Let me get out y'all here.
Yes, Wendell, I made that announcement early on.
Sorry.
Okay. Before we go, I want to make a couple of short announcements. One is this. If you're a person who is in the Sierra Club or you're not in the Sierra Club but you'd like to be, we have 1 or 2 jobs we need done for the club. And I guess we could call it meeting coordinator or facilities coordinator. Right now I'm doing half of the job and the vice chair is doing the other half, except I didn't see the signs up, Wendell.
They're up.
They're up now?
They're up.
Okay. What we need is a person who is willing to bring those display boards from our storage unit to every meeting, and the signs that we put up out at various spots try to guide you to this location. And I used to do the job. I'm still doing half of it, and Wendell's doing the other half. So if you're interested in getting involved with the Sierra Club, that's one thing you could do. All right, enough on that. We're going to a group of us will go to the Blue Goose for food and fellowship after we adjourn the meeting. And the Blue Goose is on Midway, just south of Beltline. Okay, so if you go there, we will buy some nachos for you.
$2 margarita night also.
We are not encouraging you to drink margaritas, but it's true. They have $2 frozen margaritas tonight.
How about our wonderful new people?
Oh.
First attending.
Oh my God, I forgot a whole routine I was supposed to do. Can I see a show of hands of those of you who are attending your first Sierra Club meeting? Yeah. Oh, you know, you can sign up for our free newsletter and get that via email. And we also have some forms over there with Ginger by the door. If you're interested in joining the Sierra Club, it only costs $15 the first year to join the Sierra Club. Okay, so you know what Woody Allen said, 90% of life is just showing up. So keep showing up, join the club. I think, okay, am I done now? Liz, am I finished? So, no.
Next month's meeting program is what? Victoria, Renee?
Next month's meeting is going to be Mary Graves from the Texas Foundation is going to be talking about her work with saving historic trees, what we can do, how we can facilitate the city of Dallas or the city that you live in to protect trees and not clear-cut them down for development. So this is going to be a real fun one. And of course, you have to come back and see us because we love you just because. But I also want you to come back to learn about the trees because we really need them here.
And if you sign up to get our free monthly newsletter, you'll always know what the program for the month is going to be. Okay? Well, with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Dan. I'm sorry, Dan. I apologize, Dan.